Hello, everyone. So I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for your patronage. I do not know what I would do without it. It helps so much, and I can't express in words how thankful I am for the people who did choose to fund this channel. But yeah, the $50 incentive was met, and I fulfilled my end of the bargain. Now, of course, I knew beforehand that Tom was not going to let me talk. He was going to talk over me, and I was going to make my point anyway. But yeah, I recorded my end where you could hear him in the background, but my line of the conversation was dominant. So, yeah, here is my conversation with Thom Hartmann, where you can actually hear my arguments, and you'll notice how pathetic his are in comparison.
Esso, in Richland, Washington. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, you are.
So here you want to disagree with me about libertarianism?
Yeah. One of the biggest problems I've noticed when you ever mention libertarianism is you tend to conflate three different groups of people who support privatization and their reasons for doing so. One of which, and the one that you said that you purport the most, is that libertarians support privatization, so they must be like the Republicans who support supply-side policies. And then you conflate the capital L libertarians with the anti-state libertarians, and those are just two completely different categories, most of which libertarians fall into the latter category. But yeah, free markets do not have anything to do with the state, and libertarian economics and Republican economics. No, it's not. No, it's not nonsense. Republicans.
Secondly, markets are creations of,
What?
Of states. You can't have a market without a currency.
Actually, that's not true. There are
there's. Than you can have a football game without referees.
Actually, that's not true. There's maritime trade goes back 100,000 years, and the earliest modern state was only formed in 3,500 years.
That's why we had pirates, people who broke the rules, and that's why you had armies or navies that went out to stop the pirates. You can't have a marketplace.
No, we have pirates. You got it entirely backwards. We had pirates, we have cartels, and we have mafias because these states monopolized these industries, so that these. Yes, you do. Cartels form because these industries don't have any trust.
Where I would mow your lawn and you would wash my car. That's a barter deal. No money, no state. Right? Does that sound like a free market?
Yeah, but you know, money does not require a state to exist. Money exists because of. Well, then we go to court. You do not need a court. You do not need. No, you do not need a state to go to court. You do not need a state to have a property settlement because property does not exist as a result of the state. Property exists.
Of course it does.
No, it doesn't.
Who else will certify that you actually own that property? How can you demonstrate to me who
you could create contracts. There have been several individualist stateless societies in the past before. Ancient Ireland, Neutral Morrisnet, Cospia, Quakers, prior.
Ayn Rand have so.
Ayn Rand was not a libertarian icon.
No, she was an objectivist, but her objectivism has informed libertarianism, which has now informed republicanism.
And there you go again. You're just conflating the different forms of privatization. Point to me a libertarian that supports surplus packages. Point to me a libertarian that supports synthetically low interest rates.
Made based on greed are going to turn out for the best, and that's simply not true.
Decisions are not made based on greed. The libertarian basis for property rights is not based on letting the government run everything. No, the libertarian basis for property rights is based on the individual having the right to them because property is an extension of the individual's self-ownership. It is the only reason that we're even in favor of property rights is because to deny property rights would be basically to deny that an individual owns the extensions of their own actions. Imagine if...
The reason that the libertarians are all in favor of property rights...
Oh, please tell me what I believe, Tom.
The whole encourage you to look up the history of this back in the 40s and 50s. Even the phrase was come up with by a PR firm acting on behalf of a group of...
Actually, that's not true. The term libertarianism originates from the 1780s, and you think it came from the 1940s. Libertarianism has been around since the 1780s, and it was originally used to refer to individualists.
We don't want to pay any damn taxes, you know, tough luck, Charlie.
No, we're against taxes, and we're against stuff like that because it's coercive. We're against the social... No, it's not that we don't care about the common good, it's that it's coercive, it's forced onto us. We don't have a say in this, Tom. Where's the contract that shows that the state has the...
We have representative government.
They're not representatives. Show me the agreement where you agreed to have them represent you, Tom. Where's the agreement that says they're allowed to represent you? They're not representatives, they're legislators. You know what the difference is? Because they go in and then they establish a monopoly on courts. They establish a monopoly on courts and then they force you to do whatever they say. You know why? Because they've outlawed the competition.
Right. So you have not convinced me. I'm doubting that I'll be able to convince you. I mean, you've got your little fantasy world here, and you think it's real, but...
Well, you're not even listening to me.
Here's a final question for you. Can you name for me any country in the 7,000-year history of civilization, any country anywhere in the world that has successfully done the libertarian experiment?
Sure, I can name you several. Ancient Ireland from about 700 BC till 1650. It was an individualist anarchy, and it was governed under an individualist common law.
So Ireland during that era, and frankly most of Europe during that era, was one of two things. Either they were communist, essentially. You had communities, small towns and small communities, where people worked together, they built each other's homes, they fed each other, or you had feudalism, and its modern version is neo-feudalism, where you had a king or a lord, running roughshod on people. This was Jefferson's big love of the Whig history.
Yeah, but you know what Ireland was? You're saying, oh well, most of Europe was feudalist, so that means this country was. No, they had organizations called tuaths. There was,
and as I said, this is
generally, you're right.
In his love of the Whig histories. The Whig histories were the histories of the British Isles before the invasion of the Romans in 200 BC.
Yeah, generally, you are right. Most of Europe was feudalist. Most of Europe was communal. But Ireland was not. There was no political authority and there was no state structure. What they did is they formed organizations known as tuaths, where people voluntarily organized, and they created most of society's infrastructure out of tuaths.
So you're talking communism.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is that these are voluntary organizations. You could join and leave at any time.
Any successful libertarian experiment since, let's say, 1800?
Yeah, I can't think of any since 1800, but that's because we've had states taken over.
It doesn't work.
That's circular logic. It doesn't work. Well, I've provided 5 historical examples, Tom. I provided ancient Ireland, neutral Morsnet, Cospia, and the Quakers' colonies in pre-American America.
Donald Rumsfeld, and you can read this in the biographies of the time. Donald Rumsfeld saw Iraq as an opportunity for a libertarian experiment. Rumsfeld's phrase, and that's why when freedom was messy, when they were looting the museum.
Yes, and that's a problem that I have with modern conservatives, is they've appropriated the term.
Because we are going to prove that libertarianism works. We are going to. They deconstructed the government. They shut down all the state industries. They fired all the government employees, and they said, okay, and now the free market is going to take care of it. And how did that work out?
Again, you don't understand the difference between the different policies. Conservatives do not want libertarianism, yet they say that they want libertarianism. What they want is monopolization through state policies. They want to prioritize corporations over other corporations, and they want to use regulations to allow these big corporations to stop other companies from entering the market. That's not what libertarians want. We want there to be no policies so that competition...
What libertarians want is to be free from the strictures of society, culture, and other human beings. I get it. And so
fucking asshole didn't even fucking let me finish. Oh, man.